Trigger warning. This episode is filled with extreme melancholy and sadness. Please do not proceed ahead if that may affect you in the slightest. Thank you. What a time to witness this epic cosmic joke. Can you see the end? Are you overwhelmed yet? I know I am. I am exhausted. But my head won't stop thinking and my heart won't stop feeling, and most of the time it is just so difficult to stay afloat. Existential crisis at its pinnacle. Questions that come hit you out of nowhere. Things said that leave bleeding wounds. Things you never expected you could hear. So I played a little game. I tried to answer these questions and also find their answers in the words of others. Maybe you will too. Question number 1. How easy would it be to forget that I exist? Answer: as easy as it is to blink. If You Forget Me by Pablo Neruda. I want you to know one thing. You know how this is? If I look at the crystal moon, at the red branch of the slow autumn at my window, if I touch near the fire the impalpable ash or the wrinkled body of the log, everything carries me to you, as if everything that exists, aromas, lights, metals, were little boats that sail toward those isles of yours that wait for me. Well, now, if little by little you stop loving me, I shall stop loving you little by little. If suddenly you forget me, do not look for me, for I shall already have forgotten you. If you think long and mad, the winds of banners that passes through my life, and you decide to leave me at the shore of the heart where I have roots, remember that on that day, at that hour, I shall lift my arms and my roots will set off to seek another land. But if each day, each hour, you feel that you are destined for me with implacable sweetness, if each day a flower climbs up to your lips to seek me, oh my love, oh my own, in me all that fire is repeated. In me nothing is extinguished or forgotten. My love feeds on your love, beloved, and as long as you live, it will be in your arms without leaving. Question number 2. Why is your head such a mess? Answer: because my mind is a battle zone. War by James Peterson. The songs I've sung are futile, of little futile things, of foolish dreams and fancies on feeble faltering wings. So I will cease my singing and take you by the hand down days and darksome ditches to the night of no man's land, where the day is full of horror that words may never tell, and the twilight full of terror, and life is laughing hell, where your body will be filth-clad and your soul will fade away, where you'll curse your only brother as you plod the clutching clay. You'll scramble in the muck heap to soothe your hunger ache, with your silly heart aflutter, with your silly soul aquake. And when your heart is broken and you care not if you die, you'll keep on carrying on till self-pity makes you cry, till you take the man who loved you and rake him through the mud and scoop a shallow hollow with your hands all smeared with blood and throw him in and leave him. And you'll laugh for God knows why, and you'll keep on carrying on. Or God loves you and you die. Among the filth and fear and hunger, in strife to fight and fend, from ages unbeginning to ages beyond end. Question number 3. Why don't you just bury all the bullshit? Why can't you pretend just for once to be normal? Answer. Because my heart already is a graveyard. And now there is no space left. Memorial by Norman Mccaig. Everywhere she dies. Everywhere I go, she dies. No sunrise, no city square, no lurking beautiful mountain, but has her death in it. The silence of her dying sounds, though, the carousel of language, it's a web on which laughter stitches itself. How can my hand clasp another's when between them is that trick death, that intolerable distance? She grieves for my grief. Dying, she tells me, that bird dives from the sun, that fish leaps into it. No carcass is carved more gently than the way her dying shapes my mind. But I hear too the other words, black words that make the sound of soundlessness, that name the nowhere she is continuously going into. Ever since she died, she cannot stop dying. She makes me her elegy. I am a walking masterpiece, a true fiction of the ugliness of her death. I am her sad music. Question number 4. Don't you think that you have created this restlessness, this so-called anxiety? Answer. I should have. Probably then I wouldn't have the difficulty to figure out whether I am alive or dead. I felt a funeral in my brain by Emily Dickinson. I felt a funeral in my brain, and mourners to and fro kept treading till it seemed that sense was breaking through. And when they all were seated at service, like a drum, kept beating till I thought my mind was going numb. And then I heard them lift a box and creak across my soul with those same boots of lead again. Then space began to roll. As all the heavens were a bell, and being but an ear, an eye, and silence, some strange race, regged, solitary, here. And then a plank in reason broke, and I dropped down and hit a world at every plunge and finished knowing then. Question number 5. Why all the drama? It's not like somebody is really actually left. Answer. When it happens often enough, you learn to recognize what it looks like. For this one, I have a poem of my own. What Abandonment Looks Like by Aadya. A relationship ended. A soul bared, loved, broken and left, with silences and absence, and just that feeling. You are not needed anymore. A love died, except in concept, for the sake of some twisted affection that crept up along the way. Stories faded, remembrances blurred, events got misplaced. For every word that was written for you, essence changed, until there wasn't anything written or spoken. Maybe avoided? The invisibility of distance kept growing, kept darkening, not into the quiet night, but in the restless sleep. I need you to hold me, from screams to pleading to imposing, until dignity picked up the pieces and stopped begging. My life kept moving, as it does, day after day, every day. Question number 6. Why don't you go and just sleep it off? Answer. Because dreams are not dreams anymore. They are spilling out into reality. Things by Fleur, Adcock. There are worse things than having behaved foolishly in public. There are worse things than these miniature betrayals. Committed or endured or suspected, there are worse things than not being able to sleep for thinking about them. It is 5 a.m. All the worst things come stalking in and stand icily about the bed, looking worse and worse and worse. Question number 7. Ever heard of this thing called hope? Answer. I have. It's just too difficult to believe in anymore. Trouble is not my middle name, by Liz Locchead. Trouble is not my middle name. It is not what I am. I was not born for this. Trouble is not a place, though I am in it deeper than the deepest woods. And I'd get out of it. Who wouldn't? If I could. Hope is what I do not have in hell. Not without good help. Now, could you listen? Listen hard and well to what I cannot say except by what I do. And when you say I do it for badness, this much is true. I do it for badness done to me before any badness that I do to you. Hard to unfangle this, but you can help me. Loosen all these knots and really listen. I cannot plainly tell you this, but if you care, then beyond all harm and hurt, real hope is there. With this, the game ends. Once again, this is Aadya. If you've reached the end of the episode, you probably like what you're hearing. I would love to hear from you as well. Please reach me at the Instagram page for this podcast @What Saves Me From Drowning. And please don't forget to follow, share, like, review, rate according to wherever you're listening.